Can we be weird? Let's be weird. I'm gonna be weird. I'm just a girl, and this is my favorite everything.
Hi guys, welcome to the first episode of My Favorite Everything, which is my podcast. I'm Molly Holmes, I'm the host, and this is just a podcast about all my favorite stuff, guys, which is important, okay, to me. You're just kind of here for the ride. I started this podcast because, number one, my throat chakra is blocked. I have thyroid problems, and I am trying to solve it by talking about things that I like and having, whatever, just an opportunity to use my voice because, hey, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I don't have many friends. My family does not live here. I live in Colorado, but I grew up in Massachusetts. And guys, this is important. Even if I'm just talking to myself, whatever, I need to be doing it. I need to do something for me. And I can't always go to the thrift store and spend money, although I would like to. So, hey, this podcast is going to be about my favorite movies, music, my favorite life experiences, my favorite things that I've learned about relationships and health and mental health, and my favorite mysteries. Guys, I'm a mystery girl. I'm not mysterious at all. I'm like a TMI queen, but I love a good mystery. And of course, like many women, I have fallen into true crime holes, and those are scary. And I actually can't do it anymore. And true crime gives me diarrhea. Okay. So I'm going to be doing mysteries that are not true crime. Okay. So kind of mysteries of the world. Maybe not mysteries about like history and stuff because I don't really have the bandwidth for that. I don't really care. There's too many characters. There's too many dates. Old-timey stuff that I don't care about, okay? We're going to talk about Mel's hole. Guys, what do you know about a man named Mel and his hole? Not nearly enough, so I'm going to tell you about it. It's a guy with a well, mysterious well, okay? Not this episode. That's not what this is. This episode, we're going to talk about my favorite movies. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about who am I. Like I said, you know my name. You know that I grew up in Cape Cod. Or did I say that? I said Massachusetts, maybe. Anyways, Cape Cod, the little arm that sticks out, that's me. I was on Cape Cod. I was in the armpit of Cape Cod. That's Falmouth, okay? Little touristy beach town. Didn't appreciate it growing up. Miss it a lot now. I mean, I miss the beach. I don't really miss the tourist town stuff. Like, the population triples every summer. Imagine that you're in this tiny ass town that barely has the infrastructure for anything because it's a fuck ass peninsula town. Like, okay. And then 3 times the people come. They don't know how to drive. They don't know how to navigate the small streets. And all the houses are filled with mold. And, yeah, it's just like, it was kind of a cuckoo bananas place to grow up, but I miss the beach a lot, and I really do. And yeah, I miss my family, but I miss the beach too. So anyways, I'm very glad that I left. I live in Colorado now, and there's no beaches here, but a lot of ponds, rivers, creeks, streams. I love that. I'm kind of a water girl, so that's really nice, but it's not the same as a beach, so that does suck. But yeah, glad to move out of a small town. Glad to kind of come out here and do my own thing. Met my husband here, have my child here, and our house, and our dog, and our chickens. So fulfilled in Colorado. Yeah, and I'm a stay-at-home mom now. I've had a lot of jobs. I've done doing a whole episode on my favorite work experiences, which sounds boring, but guys, they're not my work experiences. So that's fun. Yeah, I just kind of want to share some parts and pieces about me because I feel like I've kind of lived a lot of life in my 39 years. I feel like, right, like I'm not a world traveler. I'm not a boss babe CEO, but like I feel like I've just kind of had this sort of intense life and wacky life. I am myself wacky, and I like that about me. So yeah, I just feel like between mental health struggles and addiction struggles, navigating parenthood and relationships, and trying to be a kind of a cycle breaker. I kind of I feel like there's like cringe associated with that now because it's overused, but I think so many of us in our generation are. and the generations that come after us, we're always breaking these cycles that have been kind of handed down through our lineage. So yeah, I'm just a girl, okay? And I'm just going to talk about the things that I really, really like. And today we're going to talk about my favorite movies. And if you don't like this episode, don't tell me about it. And also, if you don't like this episode, try listening to the next one. It's going to be all my favorite work stories. And if that doesn't hook you, you don't have to listen to this ever again. Okay, you're off the hook. Even if you're my family, even if you're a friend, if you don't like the next episode, I'm just not for you. Okay, with love, I'm releasing you from these chains. Okay, let's jump in. We're going to start at number 10, and actually we're going to talk about an honorable mention, which is Superstar. So anyone who doesn't know, Superstar came out in maybe the early 2000s, but it was based on a character that Molly Shannon did on SNL in the 90s. And she was this very horny schoolgirl who would stick her fingers in her armpits when she got nervous and then smell them like this. And that was like her big thing. And they made it into a whole movie. And it was Molly Shannon and Will Ferrell. And there's a bunch of cameos from other SNL people. Tom Green makes an appearance, and he is saying words that are no longer acceptable. So that's kind of fun. And yeah, so that movie is an honorable mention. I used to watch the shit out of that movie, and I love that movie, and I stand by it. Okay? And does it pass the political correctness scale today? No. Most of the movies on this list don't, okay? Because I grew up watching these, and that was a different time. All right? So that's all I'm going to say about that. But I do love Superstar. If you haven't watched it, it will make you laugh, okay? But my actual number 10 is Weapons, okay? The horror movie Weapons. And I just this movie blew my tits off. I love horror, okay? And I have an episode all about my favorite horror movies. But and I just think they're fun, and I'm lean more towards the not so serious horror because I just think it's fun. Weapons is so good, okay? It's great. One of the best horror movies I've seen in the last 10 years, easily, okay? The premise is great. I hate movies that's oh my God, I've already seen this. I've seen this. Someone else has done this. I've seen this 50 times. It's just little tweaks on the same goddamn thing, okay? Hate that. I don't really know too many people who love that though. But anyways, the concept of Weapons is very unique, okay? It's so well done. The villain is so good. And it's the movie has a sense of humor, but it's not a comedy. It's not even a dark comedy. It just is a horror movie that has a good sense of humor, okay? The ending is super fun and satisfying and funny, and oh my God, it is one of those movies where the whole time you're what is happening? What on earth is happening? So the basic premise is, yeah, there's gonna be spoilers, guys. I don't care. Okay, if you haven't seen this movie and you don't want to know the spoilers, just fast forward a few minutes. Okay? But anyways, the basic thing is this teacher, one day she shows up and all of her students have gone missing from their homes, from their families, they're gone. And there's just one kid there. And it's obvious, you know that he knows something and he's not really saying. And so she's okay, because all the parents are well, obviously this teacher did it. Obviously, duh, that's the one common denominator is they're all in this class, okay? So this teacher's kind of trying to clear her name, and she doesn't know how, because she's why the fuck would I know where these kids are? Hello? I don't have anything to do with this. So you're with her on this journey of what is happening? Why is it happening? How is it happening? And there are this movie does not rely on jump scares, which is good, because I don't really like a movie where it's just jump scare, but there's a couple that are so effective, and I'm was scared. I was scared. And so I love that too. I love a movie that gives you that real scare. Okay. So yeah, I guess there's really not, I won't say any spoilers, I guess, for this one, but it's so fun. And yeah, I really liked it. So that's my number 10. Number 9. I just rewatched this. I watch this at least once a year. Okay. It's Dennis the Menace, guys, with Walter Matthau and the lady, she's not the teapot. That's Angela Lansbury. But anyways, she's cute and old, and she was in a couple other things. And the little boy, I don't think went on to do anything, but he's the the perfect Dennis the Menace. Okay, everyone in that movie is so good. Christopher Lloyd is the most disgusting villain I've ever seen in my life. He like haunted my dreams as a kid. He's so disgusting. They made him so gross, okay? Dennis the Menace, for those of you who haven't seen it, hey, go see it, okay? That movie holds up. It's not even like there's nothing problematic about it, I don't think. Like, it's so fun. Walter Matthau is so fun. The kid is so funny. He is so good. His little friends are hilarious. Like, the people playing all the old people in that movie are so good at being like old. Like, it's just so funny. And of course, Christopher Lloyd is so good at being this gross, like, traveling robber guy. And oh my God, so many like, oh my God, just so, we had so much fun watching this, rewatching this as a family. But I have always been a stand for Dennis the Menace. Like, these movies, he just cracks me up. I haven't seen any of like the following ones because I don't think they have any of the original people. Oh my God, Dennis the Menace is so funny. But yeah, the basic premise is this little boy, he's a fucking menace. He's 5. And he's just always causing trouble. You know, he's got like ADHD and his parents are working and he's always bothering the elderly, cranky old man neighbor and his wife. And the wife doesn't care. But the old man's like, fuck this kid. Like, oh my God. He's so lawless. Like, he can't stand it. And Dennis ends up having to stay with them because both of Dennis's parents have to go on business trips at the same time. And so he has to stay with them and he causes all this mayhem. And then he gets like basically kidnapped by this robber. But Dennis is so like, whatever. He doesn't really realize he's in danger. And he kicks that guy's ass. It's great. So that's kind of the short synopsis of Dennis the Menace. But it is really, it's not just a funny movie. It's like a good movie. I really like it. Number 8, not technically a good movie, okay? Does it hold up? To me, it does. Is there lots of problematic elements in it? Yeah. Yeah, there is. It's Can't Hardly Wait. Okay, so this movie made either late 90s or early 2000s. Okay, it's got Ethan Embry, Jennifer Love Hewitt, Seth Green. I want to say a couple other people, but those are like the big names. And it is a teenage movie. Okay, coming of age movie. These high school seniors are graduating. There's this big senior like graduation party. And for 4 years, Ethan Embry, who is the male protagonist, he's the main character, he's been madly in love with this girl, Amanda, or whatever the hell her name is, okay? Who's Jennifer Love Hewitt, of course. And he's just been madly in love with her. And she's been dating, you know, of course, the asshole jock who like doesn't get her and like doesn't see her, but Ethan Embry, he totally does. Of course he does. So anyways, he's got this letter and he's like, I'm going to give this to her tonight because I love her. And I'm leaving on a train tomorrow to go to art school or whatever, writer school. I don't remember and I don't care. And so his name's Preston Myers in the movie. So Ethan Embry's character, Preston Myers, goes with his best girlfriend who is like this big outcast. She's kind of like grunge, kind of like goth a little bit. And she's just like, I don't fucking want to go. And he's like, oh, please just come with me. Like, I have to tell this girl I love her. And she's like, God damn it, fine. So she goes and everyone's there. Melissa Joan Hart is in it. That's pretty fun. And there's like, you know, you get to see all the little subsets of the high school population, right? The nerds, the jocks, the musicians, the theater geeks, the whatever. And truly, this movie is so funny. Like, laugh out loud, truly funny. And of course, there's slurs kind of being thrown around casually because they didn't used to mean as much and people would just say things to each other like that. And, you know, everyone's horny, right? And so that's really fun. Seth Green's character is so funny. And this is a movie that I used to watch with my best friend growing up, Lori Renna. We loved this movie. Shout out to Lori Renna because a couple of movies on this list, we were like just all about them. And they were so quotable and we would just quote them all day long. This is one of those movies, okay? It's so funny. I truly love Can't Hardly Wait. So if you haven't seen it, put it on your fucking list, okay? Moving on. Oh, should I tell you what happens? Anyways, he gives her the letter and she's like, fuck you. Everyone is like, she just broke up with the jock, okay, is the other crucial part that I forgot to tell you. And so she gets this letter and she's like, you're all perverted weirdos. Like, you don't know me and I don't know you. So leave me the fuck alone. And he's like, oh my God, like, she's right. What the fuck? But then she reads his letter and she's like, oh no, this is different, I guess. And she's like, he does know me. He's been like watching me for 4 years. And I like am not uncomfortable with that. And that's great. And so they like talk about it. Anyways. That's all I'll say. Okay, moving on. Number 7 is The Life Aquatic. Now, this was like my number 1 movie for years. And I do really like this movie a lot. I still do. It has like such a place in my heart. I don't know. So it's a Wes Anderson movie, which if you've ever been into Wes Anderson, you know his movies all have similar like beautiful shots. They recycle the cast kind of every time. Bill Murray's like in all of those movies. And a few other people, Angelica Houston, in this one, so they're both in it. And what's his name? Owen Wilson is in it. And what's that other guy's name? The guy, Willem Dafoe. Okay. And there's a few other people I know I'm missing, but that's like those are the big names in the cast, okay? The basis of the movie is that Bill Murray is, I think, playing himself truly in this movie, where he is just kind of this conceited man-child who's just kind of egotistical, and he is this marine biologist, and he is trying to get funding for this big mission where his best friend, they're both oceanographers together, his best friend was killed by this new species of shark that only he and his friend saw, and he's trying to get funding to go on a mission to blow it up because he ate his friend. And like, I totally get that. Okay, as you do, I would blow up an endangered species if someone hurt someone that I loved. So I totally get it. So he's like trying to get the funding, and they're like, no, you can't do that, but you can go out and like try and get proof, and then maybe we'll talk about it. Oh, and what's his name's on this? Oh my God, literally the worst person in the world when it comes to remembering people's names. Anyone who's ever been in a movie, I'm like, ooh, and what's his name? He's got black hair, okay? He was in Jurassic Park. That guy. You know who I'm talking about. Jeff Goldblum. Okay, there it is. It came to me. And he's in it. And he's so funny in it. I mean, everyone's actually very funny in this. But yeah, it's beautifully shot. It has heart. Like, there is a point in time where, like, you're crying, okay? Which is just, like, it is... But overall, right, it's a comedy. And it is so fun to watch Bill Murray. I loved his character in this movie, truly. So he gets this ragtag team to go and try and find proof of this. And along the way, of course, there's all these like follies and all these hurdles and all these things. And of course, since he's this kind of egomaniac, he's like not putting anyone's best interests first. He's just doing what he wants. He gets everyone in trouble and people get hurt, and he's got to figure out a way to save the day. And in the end, they all see this shark and he decides not to blow it up. So you can tell he's really grown during this movie. Okay. So yeah, I really do love The Life Aquatic. It's very fun. Number 6. Now talk about a movie I love that I like grew up on. Okay. My cousins and I were absolutely obsessed with the Spice Girls. Tell me one girl who grew up in the 90s that wasn't. Okay. And if you know them, I don't care. And I don't want to hear from them, because the mania that was the Spice Girl fandom was crazy, right? Like, I love, and I still do, I stand by my love for the Spice Girls. They were such a phenomenon. Like, it can't be understated enough. An all-girl band. It was like the first big girl band. And they were so fun. Like, you kind of had to be there. I don't know if you didn't know anything of them and then you sort of listen to their music or watch their concerts now, if you would get it, dude. Okay. You had to be there. And like, they all had their different roles. Like, it was so fun. There was a scary one and a sporty one and a ginger one and a baby one and a posh one. And that was like the most fun part, was that they were these like caricatures of these like characteristics that, you know, a woman could have. And they were really played up, and they had like these fun costumes, and their music, so fun. My daughter and I listen to the Spice Girls all the time because their music holds up, okay? And guess what? So does this movie. Now, the thing about Spice World is that it is a movie that is like cognizant and aware that it's over the top silly and zany and wacky and funny. And it's like there's like surreal moments, and there's like inside of the movie there is a documentary being made about the Spice Girls, which Alan Cumming is a documentarian. So he's like in the movie he's trying to take it seriously, but his character is funny. Then also inside the movie there's a documentary team, but then there's also movie producers who are trying to make and pitch a movie about the Spice Girls. And then it's all weaved together. So the guys who are pitching the movie to the Spice Girls manager, who honestly is the funniest part of those movies, that movie, is the Spice Girls manager. And I see a lot of myself in him. He's just like this type A, the world's falling apart. I have to keep everything together. Everyone has to stay on schedule. He's always screaming. His like veins are throbbing. He's having a meltdown trying to like wrangle these 5 very different women on tour and like keep them on task and make sure that they're not doing anything to like hurt their public image. And he's losing his mind the entire movie, and he's my favorite part of that movie. Okay. Anyways, these 2 movie guys are pitching to the manager these movie ideas, and then in the movie they're being played out. So like I said, there's like this surrealism, and there's like all these different moving parts, and then you have the Spice Girls and you're watching them record and sing, and then they've got their best friend who's pregnant, who doesn't have a husband or really a family to support her. So the Spice Girls are trying to not let their fans down and not let their friend down. And they have all these, they're on tour and they have all these performances and meet and greets. And they kind of are just young and want to be free and fun. And then you've got the crazy manager, and you've got all the meetings, and then their friend might go into labor anytime. And so there's like, this movie is truly so fun. And you get to hear all of their music, which is like so fun. And you get to like know each one of them a little bit. And friendship and girl power are like the central themes. And it's done in, honest to God, such a fun way. And there is a weirdo villain. Like there's so many different storylines. It is such a bizarre movie, but you will like it. And if you don't, I don't want to hear about it. Okay. Spice World is such a fun movie. It really is. So if you have a young girl in your life who's never seen it, make her watch it. And if she doesn't like it, shame on her, okay? Number 5, okay, kind of switching gears here. Number 5 is Jaws. Guys, I don't think anyone would argue that Jaws is an incredible movie, right? It's just a good movie. And for me, growing up on Cape Cod, which Cape Cod is like the landmass, the peninsula sticking out of Massachusetts, where Jaws is supposed to kind of take place, even though it's called Amity Island. It's supposed to take place on Martha's Vineyard, which you can see from where I am on Cape Cod in Falmouth. You can see Martha's Vineyard. You can get on a ferry. You can go over to Martha's Vineyard. And it is this quaint, oh, it's so cute. It's just this cute island. And like people live there year round. So, it's like got houses and all that infrastructure for people to live there. But anyways, this movie's so nostalgic for me. It's like that, it really captures the small Cape Cod Island feel. And that to me is just like, it's beautiful and I love it. that part of the movie, like already, this movie just speaks deeply to me for that reason. But then you've got this scary ass shark. Oh my God. And like, I'm someone who grew up in the water. Okay. Spent my whole life at the beach. That's what you do when you live in a tourist beach town. Your whole life and everyone around you is the beach. That's just what you do. That's what you are. That's who you become when you die. You go back to the beach. Okay. And so saying that though, once I saw Jaws, I was like, oh, okay. Really was not aware of how scared I should be in the water. And like, it didn't really affect my mom. And I feel like, I don't know if it affected my brothers as much, but for whatever reason, and I know I'm not alone, Jaws scared the ever-loving shit out of me. And still does to this day. And I love the ocean, and I miss the ocean, and I go in it when I'm home. But I'm always kind of, are there enough people in the water that someone else would be eaten before me? That's really my main concern when I'm in the water. And I just don't go out that deep. Like, I need to be touching. Yeah. And the water cannot be too murky. Yeah. And that's all because of this movie. But I love this movie. I watch it every summer. It's such a good summer movie. Like, it takes place in the summer, right? It's got all the nostalgic background Cape Cod stuff that's like perfect and beautiful. And then it's so well done. And like, a reason why this movie works so well, and I'll talk about this a little bit more, I think, in my horror movies episode, but scary movies work best when you are not shown the villain outright. You see shadows, you see scuttling, you see like whispers of what's to come, because what you're like imagining in your own head is usually scarier than what they can show you. How many times have you been let down by a horror movie when they kind of do the big monster reveal and you're like, okay, I guess kind of sucks, but okay. So with Jaws, you just like don't see the shark that much. And part of that was not actually unintentional. Probably everyone knows this by now, but if you don't, so they had to make these animatronics of the shark. Yeah. And they're filming it in the salt water of Cape Cod, and they didn't really plan for that. And salt water is super like corrosive to metal and everything they needed to like put these sharks together. They did not really plan for the salt water. So like one of the models of Bruce, the shark, which is what they called him, just sunk to the bottom of the ocean. They had to spend all this money to pull it back up. So anyways, having all these issues meant that they couldn't be showing the shark for a good chunk of the movie. But it worked out in their favor because you're so scared. You're like not seeing it, but you know it's there and you know it's coming. And of course, the music is so effective. And it's just like, it's so well done. You're so scared. Like, you can just picture or like put yourself in that situation. And yeah, I don't know too many people who have seen that movie who are fully at peace and comfortable in the ocean ever again. Okay. So it really worked. And like, oh, the characters too are just like so fun. Richard Dreyfuss, I love him. I have such a soft spot for him. I don't probably think he's like a great person, but maybe he is. I don't know. But he is like so fun in this movie. He really is. He's great. Quint, obviously, he was kind of a nightmare alcoholic to work with, but dude, he played his character so well. And Chief Brody, he does great too. Like, you can really feel for him. He's like, plays the straight kind of guy who's not wacky at all, and he's trying to keep things together, and he's the police chief, and like, he does it wonderfully. So I love Jaws, and I watch it every year, and maybe you should too. Okay, do it right before you go to the beach. Okay. Number 4. Wow, guys, I love this movie so much. Again, shout out to Lori Renna. We watched this movie so hard growing up. It's called Empire Records. I hope you've seen it. And if you haven't, go watch it. Watch it today. Okay, put this on your list. Empire Records is truly, it is so fun and funny, but it also has heart. It really does. And it's like, you care about the characters and you identify with them, but it's about these group of teenagers who work at this kind of punk record store, right? That hasn't been bought out by a corporation yet. It is this great, super local record store. And it's all, all these young adult teenage kids are working there. And you're watching them go through depression and like really deep, dark stuff that comes up, when you're that age and you're working through like who you are and what you want to be. They're working through their interpersonal relationships, romantic, unrequited love. And of course, in the background, like, the manager is trying to keep his little shop afloat without it getting bought out by a big corporation. And he's struggling because, hey, it's hard out there, and it still is. So it's, again, Ethan Embry, love him, and Liv Tyler, and Renee Zellweger. I think it was one of her first movies. So she's young. This was definitely in the 90s that this movie takes place and was shot. Robin Tunney, who's so good in it. And some random hot guy that I don't think really ever made anything else. House. Again, he's in that. And yeah, it like kind of revolves around them trying to save the store, but also this big like music guy that everyone at this store hates because he's like this pop music guy who is like, looks like he's in his 40s and he's been around for a while and he just makes shitty music, but you know, people still like it. So of course everyone at this kind of like punk Empire Records store is like, ugh. So, but he comes to do a record signing. This guy, his name's Rex Manning in the movie. And he is a bastard, man. And everyone hates him. Then there's a shoplifter that comes and then he kind of integrates himself into like part of the crew. And truly, it is just so funny. Like, it is so, so funny. And you just fall in love with all of these characters in the store. And it really is. It's just, it is one of my all-time favorite movies. And it holds up. It really does. Like, it is such a good one. So check it out. Now, number 3. This is kind of a weird one. Kind of out of left field. But again, for me, it's the nostalgia of this movie. Not that it's a bad movie, but it's, okay, so it's the original Pink Panther with, help me, Jesus. What is his name? Peter Sellers. Okay, so this is filmed in like the 60s. This is not the Pink Panther with Steve Martin, okay? Don't ever talk to me about the Pink Panther with the Steve Martin. That was made in like maybe 2010. All I needed to see was a commercial. And it was just a pile of ass. Okay, and it was not good. And I think it shouldn't have been made, okay? Anyways, the original Pink Panther was this series done by the masterful Peter Sellers, who you probably would know if you're like a movie person. His like most well-known movie is Dr. Strangelove, which is like an actual good movie, also funny. But the Pink Panther dude, so it's this series about a bumbling French detective. Okay, and I used to watch this with my dad, and like my uncle loved it. And so it was this thing that like I saw, it seems like mostly the men in my life really light up around. And as the series progresses, it gets more slapsticky, right? He's falling down more and he's making bigger like oopsies and it gets really dumb. And I loved that as a kid. Like, duh, the dumber, the more banana peel falling down, like that's really funny. But as an adult, growing up, the first one, the original Pink Panther, was always my least favorite. I was like, God, this is boring as shit. But as an adult, it's my favorite one because truly, it's because I watched it a lot, but also it's like really good at setting like the ambiance is carried through perfectly. You are in this French ski town and you're like visiting different French chalets and the lodge, and like the sets are gorgeous, and everyone, you know, he's like investigating this crime of very rich people. So all of the rich people have like their muffs and their hand muffs and their fur coats and their this and their that, and it's shot in that beautiful like Technicolor. Like if you think about Breakfast at Tiffany's, stuff like that, where it's like, I don't know, the colors used to be so vivid and like saturated and beautiful. And like the music's perfect too. It's like all this French like chalet, ski chalet music, and they're always kind of set by the fire, and like it just is. And then you have Peter Sellers, who is masterful in his portrayal of this bumbling detective that I just love and I have such a soft spot for. So to me, the Pink Panther is a comfort movie. Like the whole series to me are great. The first one, the Pink Panther, and then the second one, A Shot in the Dark. Those are my two favorites. Like they are so funny. He is so funny, and they're shot beautifully. Like, I don't know. I am a sucker for old movies. I really am. So the Pink Panther series, it's a fun one. Okay. Okay. We're getting into the top 2 and I'm excited. So my number 2 movie is a movie I don't know if enough people have seen. Okay. It's Hamlet 2. Okay. This was such a stupid movie in a way, but like, it's not trying to be like a good movie. It's this over the top kind of stupid movie, but it's so funny. And Steve Coogan, I just love him. Okay, so he's the main character. And I feel like in most movies, Steve Coogan plays, again, like a Bill Murray-esque, kind of like an egomaniacal, sort of self-absorbed man-child. And in this one, he's not playing that, which was so nice. In this one, he's playing more of like whatever that archetype is of like a SpongeBob sort of character, where he's like, he gets knocked down all the time and he's just pulls himself back up. He dusts himself off. He lets insults kind of roll off of him. He can kind of take things in stride and not take things too seriously, but he's got like a good heart. I love whatever that archetype is. I don't know if there's a name for it, but anyways, he's that. And he's this kind of, he always wanted to be an actor, but he just wasn't very good at it. And he acknowledges that. So now he's a high school drama teacher, and there's like no one who wants to take drama. And then he gets handed all of these like inner city kids whose school shut down. And so they're like, you know, I think they're mostly Latino, like they came from, because they're in Arizona. So anyways, you've got like the cultures clashing, but he's so happy to have extra, like more people in his class. He's thrilled. He like doesn't care about that at all. But his two like primary theater kid white students are like, ooh, oh no, like I don't fit in and I don't know what to make of these. And then the inner city kids are so funny and like obviously don't want to be there. And so Steve Coogan's character is just, he's like not self-aware at all for the most part, and he's like so dedicated to teaching theater, and he's so bad at it. And so he kind of decides to write his own play instead of trying to recreate plays or movies with his theater kids. And so he writes Hamlet 2, okay? And he brings everyone back from the dead, and he's like making Jesus really sexy and like all this crazy stuff. Amy Poehler is in this. I'm trying to think. There's a few big names, but he carries the movie and he's so funny. And the concept of the movie is just bizarre and crazy. And he's been sober for like 10 years. And then the inner city kids like slip him acid, and then he kind of spirals after his wife ends up like sleeping with their roommate and gets pregnant by him. Like it's just, he goes through so much shit, and he like goes off the deep end. But then he meets Elizabeth Shue, which is like his dream, like his favorite actress of all time, and she's working at the sperm clinic that he and his wife are going to. And they kind of team up. It's just like, it's all over the place. And then you get to see his play, and it's so bizarre. It's so funny. This to me, like, this is my movie. If I am in a hole, like I'm anxious, I'm depressed, I'm going through something, Hamlet 2 is my number one pick every single time. Like, I love this movie. It just like snaps me out of that funk sometimes that I get in. And I don't know what it is about it, but it is just one of those movies that like, oh my God, it doesn't miss for me. Always hits the spot. And it's so fucking weird. It's great. I love Hamlet 2 so much. Okay. Number one is, to me, it is an actual good movie. Okay. It's almost perfect in its execution and everything about it. And it is like, I guess, a kid's movie, but is it really? Not because it's inappropriate, but like, it's crazy. Okay, so it's The Dark Crystal. Holy crap. This missed me as a kid. Like, I did not see this. I did not grow up watching this. I watched it maybe 4 years ago, and it blew my mind. I mean, I don't know. Listen, I'm such a sucker for practical effects. Like, I hope I never see another CGI movie ever again in my life. I think it's crap. I think there's just so much to be said for movies that use, especially movies that are scary. The practical effects of movies like The Thing are unmatched. Like, you can't even argue this with me because I won't hear it. It's so good. So anyways, so The Dark Crystal is a Jim Henson movie. All of the sets are handmade, and they are chock full of otherworldly like foliage and creatures and hybrids of like creature plants. And you're following this little gelfling. His name's Jim, or Jen, and he's so cute. So he's like a little picture elf, okay, but he's called Gelfling. And anyways, he lives with these mystics, and which are really also, I mean, everything's puppets, okay? There's not a single human person in this. So everything's puppets, everything's humans in costumes, but there's no like human characters, right? This is all set in this other world of the Dark Crystal, okay? And it's this incredible tale of darkness and light. And it's like it's done so well. It's not like heavy-handed with the good versus evil. Do you know what I mean? And like in the end, they come back together. And it's just incredible storytelling. I mean, truly, if the costumes and the sets and the characters don't blow your fucking balls off, don't talk to me. We are not alike. We will not agree on most things in life. If you're not blown away by the way the Dark Crystal looks and everything about it, okay? So jot that down. Truly, I mean it. This movie is so beautiful. So much hard work went into it. It's astounding. It really is. And like the story's amazing. It really is. And it comes from this deep spiritual place, which is crazy, right? For like a Jim Henson puppet movie to like be expressing these larger themes of not just good versus evil, but darkness and light. And we have both of those within us. And in the end of the movie, spoiler alert, you find out that the evil sect of beings on this planet, the Skeksis, and the mystics, which were like the good ones that carried the light and wisdom, they were like an experiment that they both came from these spirit beings that said, we wanted to see what would happen if we split ourselves. And like took our darkness and light, split it, and had them live separately, and what would happen. And I think that is just like a heavy sort of deep spiritual thing that like before I saw this movie, it's, I don't know if anyone else has dabbled in New Age spirituality. That's like a big sort of undercurrent of what plays out in the real world. Truly, to me, it's, and my daughter loves it. I mean, and we've been watching it for a couple years. We actually watched Netflix did an okay job. There was no practical, there were some practical effects, but it was all a lot of CGI, which pisses me off. But they did a whole Dark Crystal series. I think it was just a limited series, maybe 8 or maybe 12 episodes, but it was pretty good. And we did really enjoy it. Being back in that world was really nice, but it was not all practical effects, and that was a bummer. But you get to meet so many different characters. You get a broader view of everything else going on in that world, which was really fun. So I do recommend the Netflix series. If you haven't seen it, I had a great time watching it, and so did my daughter. But this movie, it's just so good. You can rewatch it, and every time you watch it, you just see a new thing to be like, God, someone made that. And like, you're so invested in the movie, you're in there. You're not like, oh, this is a guy in a suit, or this is a whatever, like someone's, you don't get that. Like, it's so good. I can't truly, like, I feel like I can't do the Dark Crystal justice because it's art. Like, it is art in movie form. And like, maybe I'm nuts. Sure. I'll give you that. But like, I'll also fight you about this. I'll physically fight you in the street. So pull up, okay? Because I really do. I think this movie is very close to perfect. And it's fun, and it's good. It's deep. But it's also not. Like, there are funny moments. And like, again, if the costume and set design doesn't blow your mind, we're not living the same reality, dog. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Okay? So guys, those are my top 10 favorite movies of all time. Okay. And I, like, I mostly like funny movies, but there are a few here that deviated from that. Right. But like, I don't know, if you don't agree with me, I don't want to hear about it. These are my top 10 and you don't have to like them. Just sharing my opinions. Again, this is my podcast about things that I like for my own benefit. Okay. Listeners are just here for the ride. So, hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you didn't, keep that to yourself. Okay. Maybe see you next week. Maybe not. Whatever. Bye.